This episode is brought to you by MeUndies. Underwear drawers are like the Wild West. You never know what you're going to pull out or what shape it's in. So upgrade your collection with the buttery soft comfort of MeUndies. MeUndies' signature fabric is as soft as a warm hug from your favorite sweater. Plus, it's breathable and oh so comfy, making it ideal for all-day wear. Get 20% off your first order, plus free shipping at MeUndies.com/Spotify with code SPOTIFY. That's MeUndies.com/Spotify, code SPOTIFY.
If you are caught up in the Barbenheimer frenzy, if you love ranking the Mission Impossible films, if you are just an all-around movie fan, I have a podcast for you. Hello, I'm Amy Nicholson. I'm a film critic who writes for the New York Times, and I am also the co-host of Unspooled, the ultimate movie podcast. Each week, my co-host Paul Scheer and I unspool famous films to see if they are truly all-time classics. From the original 1984 Karate Kid to Children of Men to more recent pictures to Dune, yes, to Citizen Kane, we cover it all. Listen to Unspooled wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, I am Kristen Russo.
And I am Jenny Owen Youngs.
We are the hosts of Buffering the Vampire Slayer once more with spoilers, a rewatch podcast covering all 144 episodes of, you guessed it, Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
We are here to humbly invite you to join us for our 5th Buffy prom, which, if you can believe it, we are hosting at the actual Sunnydale High School. That's right. On April 4th and 5th, we will be descending upon the campus of Torrance High School, which was the filming location for Buffy's Sunnydale High, to dance the night away to 90s music in the iconic courtyard, to sip on punch right next to the Sunnydale High fountain, and to nerd out together in our prom best inside of the set of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
All information and tickets can be found at bufferingcast.com/prom. Come join us.
Welcome to a new episode of Don't Blame Me. Don't Blame Me is a call-in advice show, or you can write in now, or you can DM us. Maybe we'll have a form up that we post every Wednesday and be like, hey, here's the link. Send us what you got. Think about that.
A form for what?
Where you can submit your what you need advice for.
Oh.
Like a Google form. We just post it with a link.
I like that idea.
We give advice as simple as, should I invite these people to my wedding, to as complex as, should I drop out of this wedding because the bride peed on me? It's very wide. It's a wide range. And Gal, call us. I want to know what's going on in your life. It's probably very boring now, but I want to know what's going on.
I hope it is.
Me too. If you want to participate, you can send us an email to meghanpodcast@gmail.com or call in at
310-694-0976. You can type that out to the email, or we can also do voice memos if you're a different country, because it is a Google Voice number. But for all of those things, you have to be 18 or over or have your parents' permission. 3 minutes is the limit for voice memos and voice mails, and 300 words is the limit for typing it out. But you can also DM it to us on Instagram at Meghan and Melisa. Give us all the details, everything that would be helpful to giving advice for someone who I wouldn't say we're totally unbiased third parties, but we are the most unbiased that you will get. But do you know what I mean? We don't know you, we don't know everyone involved in the story, so we can give you advice that maybe your friends wouldn't give you. But at the same time, you if you've listened for a while, you know where we align on certain things morally, but on the everyday, things that are more personal problems, not things that are representative of much bigger issues. Who knows? We might surprise you.
Sometimes I just like to make shit up. Make shit up, lie, put on a performance. Who's to say?
I love a performance.
All right, should we get into the first one?
Let's do it. Hey, Meghan and Melisa. I'm being unfair to my boyfriend and I don't know how to stop. I'm 32 female and he's 31 male. Let's call him Garrett. This is where my biases come in. I don't think I've met a Garrett I liked. So therefore, I'm already on your side.
I don't know if there's a Garrett that I know for real. I know fictional characters named Garrett, but I don't know real life Garrett.
Oh, I don't know any of these people personally.
Okay.
There was a slew of Republicans on The Bachelor named Garrett. And it was if someone was on The Bachelor named Garrett, I was maybe it even is just one and I'm making it multiple people. But it also it's in my head, that's how I associate the name.
Okay.
Okay. And I apologize if I'm forgetting any Garretts I do know personally who are lovely. We've been together for 8 months and he's great. Other than not knowing how to properly wash dishes, we've been working on being better. He's kind, a great listener, treats me well, and we're into a lot of the same things. The issue is that I keep comparing him to my ex-best friend. Let's call him Caleb. Caleb and I were best friends for like 6 years, and at some point I fell in love with him. And when I told Caleb, he said he didn't return my feelings. That's been over 2 years ago. Other than occasionally checking in or sending each other memes, I haven't had a real conversation with Caleb in over a year because I couldn't get over not being with him in a romantic sense. Now I'm with a great guy, but I'm constantly comparing him to Caleb. Garrett quite doesn't get my jokes like Caleb, or we don't like the same TV shows, even though we align on just about anything else. Or Garrett doesn't like to have a random dance party in the middle of the day, but will oblige if he sees me doing it. How do I get Caleb out of my head? That's a good question.
You gotta fuck him. I think what it is with Caleb, it's an idea of somebody you want to be with because you've never actually been with him. And so you have this like want and desire to actually be with him. But if you were actually in a relationship, I don't think it would have lasted that long because it's just you've created who you want him to be in your head. And you wanted that friendship to go beyond friendship. And that's just not something that he reciprocated. So you're always going to be stuck on that idea until you fully process that idea of who he was. I just kind of feel like when you're with somebody in a friendship and you get along very well, and then that one thing that what you think is that one thing is missing is a romantic spark, that's actually not the one thing that's missing.
Yeah.
And it's because you're allowing yourself to fill in blanks for things that you want to happen, but that's not actually it. And if he doesn't reciprocate your feelings, you're not going to be with him. I think you got to come to that realization and you need to cut him off like completely. So you stop thinking about him. You can't send the memes. You can't check in. You got to like unfollow him on social media, or you're just going to have to live with, if you're like, I can't do that, then you're just going to have to live with the fact that you've got this idea of somebody that you can never be with and just have to move on with your life.
Yeah. Or if you can't move on, then don't date.
And don't be with someone.
Mm-hmm. I agree with all of that. I think like the key components here are you were friends with him for 4 years before you developed feelings. So you're comparing 4 years of history to 8 months. Mm-hmm. It's never going to be the same thing at all. And as someone who has like my longest relationships have all been with my 2 longest relationships have been with people I was friends with first. And so I feel like I can say that it is really easy to date a friend, or it is really fucking hard. It's really fucking hard to break up. It's really fucking hard if it doesn't work out because you lose 2 things. But if it does work out, you don't have to, you've already done all of the hard work. You don't need to go through those awkward kind of date things or whatever. Like you already know each other so well. Like it kind of is a cheat sheet, like get ahead aspect of it, but that's why it's like so much riskier and there's so much more on the line. So to me, it makes total sense why I fully believe that people who are attracted to whatever sex, whatever gender can be friends with each other and like have it just be friends. But I understand the temptation when you do have romantic feelings for a friend and how much you would rather pursue that than meet someone and try and start it from scratch. And that's what you're at now. And I think it's like, it's an impossible thing to compare because in your mind, you're comparing this to romantic feelings that you have for your current boyfriend and romantic feelings you had for Caleb when you're not comparing it to romantic feelings you had for Caleb. You're comparing it to a 4-year friendship you had with Caleb before that, and then 2 years of being in love with your friend. So for me, I think like you are not only mourning the loss of a relationship, which even like Melissa joked at the beginning, like you should sleep, he's not into you. But like, you know, there are times like I thought I was really into someone, especially, and that's the tricky part about friends, where you especially think like, I think this could work. But like you hook up or you sleep together or whatever, and you're like, oh my God, no. And I have done that not once, like more than like that's a whole other problem. Like there's all of this stuff there that like it does get confusing. So I think like I agree that you are mourning what you think a relationship with him would have been like. You have no idea that it would have been like that at all. But you're also mourning the loss of a friendship. And I would ask yourself, like, what's your friend situation like? What's that? Like, do you have really close friends? Like, do you have another, like, where is that level? Because you will never, having a relationship just like a romantic partner, 8 months in, it will never compare to losing like one of your best friends and someone who you also loved. Like, view that as two separate people. One person can never make up that. And it's like unfair to ask him to. He won't be able to do that for you. And so I understand, like, and here's the thing, the little things that you're like, you know, he does all those great things, but like, you know, he doesn't like the same TV shows as me. You're allowed to want to be with someone who does like those things, the same things as you. You're allowed to be with someone where it's like, maybe you would compromise on other things that you don't have to be so aligned on or whatever. But I don't think you can accurately make that determination if that is important to you, if you don't have a friend who fulfills that as well.
Yeah. And do you actually like this person that you're with, or are they just good on paper and they seem like they would have been a good person to help you get over the last person that you had a crush on? Like, you can't expect this person to fulfill everything that your last friend did. So let's, like Megan said, evaluate the other friendships you've got going on in your life. Also, know that for some people, they can't be your everything. Like,
yeah.
They can't be your best. I think that for me, I personally, if I'm in a relationship with somebody, I do want them to be my best friend. But some people need a best friend separate from the person they're in a relationship with. You got to figure out how you function. And if this person that you're with right now can't be the best friend that you want, then this isn't the person that you actually want to be with.
Yeah. And every best friend relationship is also different. So the things that you view as like best friend things, because like you and Caleb did them, that might not necessarily be the kind of best friend relationship you will have with Garrett. You will have your own traditions. You'll do your own things. It can't be about sliding someone into someone else's place.
Right. All right. Let's take a break. When we get back, we'll get into more.
As a podcast network, our first priority has always been audio and the stories we're able to share with you. But at Realm, we also sell some pretty cool merch, and organizing that was made both possible and easy with Shopify. When you think about successful businesses like Aloe or Allbirds or Skims, an often overlooked secret is the business behind the business that makes selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. That's because nobody does selling better than Shopify. It's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret that's definitely worth talking about is that Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%. That's more happy customers and way more sales going. If you're hoping to grow your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
Contained herein are the heresies of Radolf Buntwine, erstwhile monk turned traveling medical investigator. Join me as I study the secrets of the divine plagues and uncover the blasphemous truth that ours is not a loving God, and we are not its favored children. The heresies of Radolf Buntwine, wherever podcasts are available.
Hi, I'm Laura Cathcart-Robbins, and I am the host and creator of the podcast, Only One in the Room. Every week, my co-host Scott Slaughter and I invite you to join us and lose yourself in someone's only one story. The Only One in the Room has a wide variety of guests, from prisoners to abuse survivors to swingers. With 21 seasons and counting, we guarantee that Only One in the Room will have a story that you'll connect with. This podcast is for anyone who has ever felt alone in a room full of people, which is to say that this podcast is for everyone.
We're back. Let's get Smoothie next.
Hi, Eminem. I have a question about if you should approach asking a partner if they would be interested in seeing a therapist. I, 22, have been with my boyfriend, 24, for 3 years. We live together. He is incredibly kind and makes me laugh often. He is my safe place. Recently, he's had family issues that I know are weighing heavily on him. I work part-time remotely, so I am home alone a lot. I begin my dream full-time job this month. Lately, he dismisses me when we disagree. Such dismissive behavior mimics the cause of his family issues, which center around one parent dismissing the other, not caring when if they are upset. I emphasize with his parent and my boyfriend his siblings greatly. I was away for 2 months and returned 1.5 weeks ago on Thursday. He made plans for us with friends the entire following weekend, inviting them to an activity I had planned for us. Then he worked all week. This Friday and Saturday, we spent with his friends. Saturday night, we were with his family for a late dinner, and then he gamed with friends. I asked if he'd join me in bed several hours later. He replied that he would, but I woke up alone at 4 a.m. On Sunday, he asked to spend the following Saturday and all Valentine's Day weekend going away for his hobby. I've said I felt that was an inconsiderate ask since we hadn't had much quality time. He walked away. I was frustrated. 15 minutes later, I went to explain more of why this upset me. He responded, "The conversation is over." I cried. We continued our day, no apology. It frustrates me that he's so vocal of parental behavior, but dismisses me, proceeds to not care about my reaction, crying because I'm being dramatic. Does he want to be in a relationship?
Yeah. I fundamentally don't think it's appropriate to suggest someone going to individual therapy if A, you are not in therapy yourself, or it has to do with your relationship and in which you should be talking about couples therapy. It is not effective to be like, hey, I need you to fix yourself in therapy for me. That individual therapy is such a personal experience. I think like it is appropriate for someone to say like, hey, I think this would greatly benefit you. I've been really loving therapy, but like it's a gentle topic. Like it is nobody, I guess maybe, I don't know, men are different 'cause never been one of those that like when someone suggests it, it's never like, oh, gee golly, I've never heard of that thing. Tell me more about what is this therapy? Like usually if someone is going through a lot and they are not going to therapy, it's not because they've never thought about it. It's because either they're like, it could be a financial situation, but it could just be they're like not emotionally ready to break down that. They're not ready to like process that thing. And you don't have to stay around and wait for someone to be ready for that, but you also can't force someone to be ready to do that. But I think in this instance, this is a relationship problem that I don't know that I think most people would benefit from individual therapy at some points in everyone's life. This, I think, is couples therapy. This to me is not individual therapy whatsoever.
That's what I assumed that they were talking about. But you're right. When I went back and read it, it didn't specify which one. But it's easier for people to see what other people are doing wrong and don't realize how those have, especially when it's a parental unit, that's what you've grown up around, that now you've become the people that you're criticizing. I would question why is this a new thing, or was there like a swing? Did something happen where everything changed, or were you gone on your trip and then came back and realized that this is how he's been treating you all along?
That's a good point.
Because if that's how he's been treating you all along and he didn't even realize it, then it's not something that's new information for him, but that doesn't excuse the way that he's been treating you. And I would if you don't feel comfortable, I think like the first step would, before you even bring up the therapy situation, is to ask him like, hey, you've been doing X, Y, and Z. And I know he's saying you're being dramatic. That is,
I can't stand that.
I can't stand when people,
my shit.
I would too. I can't stand when people try to minimize how you're feeling, but as calmly as you can, just to gauge his barometer on how things are, saying, hey, I've been noticing that X, Y, and Z has happened. And it seems like you don't want to spend individual time with me. You'd rather spend time with friends and have me tag along. Even when I planned something that was just meant for the two of us, you invited other people to come. When I go to bed, you don't want to come to bed. For Valentine's Day weekend, you know that's important to me. You're going to be doing something with your friend. Is there a reason why you don't want to spend time with me alone?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know if this is controversial. I would like stop handling him with kid gloves, because if I don't know how much of this is he's confiding in you of like, hey, this dynamic to my parents is really weighing on me, versus you picking up on nonverbal cues of that and like seeing a shift in his mood and all of that. And you and his the parent who's dealing with this, as well as like the other siblings, you being able to clearly see who's the victim and who's the perpetrator in this dynamic. I don't know if you filled in any of the blanks, but like, here's the thing. Unfortunately, like, and I'll make an assumption here, could be wrong, because believe me, I understand that this works both ways. But I think if you're relating to this, I'm assuming that it is his dad being dismissive of his mom, and you're thinking that he does not agree with what his dad is doing. That is a very logical assumption. Unfortunately, it's not the case. A lot of the time, men see their fathers treating their partners, whether it's their mom or stepmom or girlfriend, whatever, seeing them poorly. And it doesn't make them go, I would never treat a woman like that. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it says, that gives me permission. That's what women deserve. There is like a lot of anger that men can hold towards women, and it transports to the kids a lot. Like, it just does happen. So I think like, I wouldn't fill in the blank. So I don't know if he's like said these things explicitly, but even if he has, I would just stop handling him with kid gloves and be like, hey, how you're treating me is like straight up unacceptable. Like, it feels like you don't want to hang out with me. You don't want to spend time with me. Like, you're being super weird, calling me dramatic. Like, that's just like rude and mean. And we got to go to therapy, or like something else has changed with the relationship. Cause like, I'm not happy. This isn't fun. I'm not having fun. I was gone for 2 months and this is what I come back to. Like, I think if he is someone, especially because you said, like, how do I introduce the idea of therapy to him? So I'm assuming that that's not something he's either gone to before, or like you think he might be resistant to that. He might building animosity towards you for being considerate of the fact that and accommodating for factoring in knowing what he's going through or has been going through with his family and his personal life into how he's treating you. Sometimes people for that, it's like, well, then why aren't you calling me out on it? Like I'm taking it out on you, whatever. But like, whatever that is, I don't think it matters. Why someone might be doing a certain type of behavior does not excuse that behavior. And if you continue to handle someone with kid gloves, you're going to have to wait a really long time before anything gets done. And you can't really set up boundaries there, because then it's like, well, he's going through this, 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 and this. I just think that like you have to prioritize yourself and your feelings, and like how he's treating you is like, I would be so mad. Like, this is so straight up unacceptable to me that like, this is like a deal breaker. We're going to therapy or we're done. Like, you have to care about me or we're done. And I don't want to say that in like a non-intimidating or like really sweet and like compassionate and like respectful and acknowledging what he's going through. I don't want to do that, because like that has nothing, like, you're treating me like this and this is the problem. Why you're doing that, we can figure out in therapy. But if you don't see how what you're doing is harming me, if I'm like diluting my feelings and playing it down and really like centering you in how you're treating me, how is that me asking you to treat me any better? That's still me prioritizing you while asking you to consider my feelings. I just think at a certain point, like, not all feelings are valid, but whatever you do with those feelings, I don't think it's always acceptable. And this to me is one of those things.
Agree. All right. Next one.
I'm so ready to get into this. This first sentence, hook, line, and sinkered me. Hi, Meghan and Melisa. What would you say past tense?
Sank.
Sank.
Hook, line, and sank me. Yeah, sank.
Hi, Meghan and Melisa. I am a 24-year-old and I am a Nepo baby. Woo-hoo, baby! Join our Patreon with those dollars. Not in the glamorous sense, but I work for my mom's real estate company. Not because I want to, but because my mom will make me move out of her house if I don't keep a good job. Her house is awesome. I have my own wing to myself with a separate entrance and kitchen, so it's like I have my own apartment without paying rent, and I'm pocketing everything from real estate sales. The issue is I need to quit my job. You're an icon. I love you. I hooked up with almost every guy and a couple of girls that work here and is around my age. At first, it was fun. I didn't think a lot about it because I'm not in the office most days. I'm either out with clients or networking. I would also call that networking, or working from home. So it wasn't really an issue. But then I guess two of my former flings became really close friends, and they told each other about me and how they're pissed at me because there might have been some overlap. I think it will eventually get around that I've hooked up with a few other people and then get back to my mom. I need to quit immediately. But my only skill set is real estate, and it's a big no-no if I branched out and did my own thing or went to work for another company. How do I stop this from snowballing?
Oh, God.
What about amnesia?
I was going to say the opposite. What about just
Radical honesty?
your mom that you've already done it?
Hey, how do you know your mom's not a little slutty? Like, your mom might be a little slutty. Like,
Yeah, but then you might find out that there's some overlap with who you hooked up with.
by the way, I'd watch that sitcom. Like a mother-daughter, like, kind of slutty real estate show. I'm obsessed with that. Here's the thing. Like, being, like, charismatic and flirty and all of that is... And I don't mean, like, actual flirty. You participated in actual flirty. I mean, like, political flirty. Like, in the sense of, like, getting that stuff. That is crucial for being a real estate agent. There's a reason why Selling Sunset exists. Like, you got to be hot. You got to be sexy and fun and a little slutty. And, like, so I think if your mom found out, she might go, you're so dedicated to this job. Like, you're perfect.
At least you're not fucking the clients.
Yeah.
But I just want to be consistent. Stop fucking people you work with. You can like flirt, but like don't actually fuck people.
Well, and then also don't fuck them. Don't like if you like I don't believe in overlapping because it doesn't seem like you're committed to any of these people. But I think if you're going to overlap, take it. I don't even need you to do a full zip code over. I would prefer that, but like at least without like if your tile on your phone is like on your keys, I need you to not be within that radius. Like I need you to be like a little bit far. Well, no, because those are actually pretty far. But like something along the lines of you get a notification on your phone, your iPad has left the premises. That's what I need it to be far enough that like there's 3 coffee shops that these people could go to. There's not one that they obviously all go to.
Yeah.
I don't mean to be horrible. I don't think this is that bad. Mostly because you didn't tell us how you treated these people and like if they thought you were exclusive and any of that stuff. You kind of kept it ambiguous. So I'm like, well, but they're mad. So you did something.
What if they have spouses and children at home?
Then
it's happening at work in the back. And you have another.
By the way, if you're fucking in these homes, as someone who recently bought a house.
You know they're fucking in the houses.
No. Unless it's a new build, in which case, fine. That shit is already so fucking sterile. It's like fluorescent lighting. Looks like a hospital. Okay. If you're fucking in like a century home, like leave those, don't bone in the old bones home.
There's so much boning that's already happened in the home.
Yeah, there's probably bones buried, like the ones I found in my backyard.
God. This is what I think you should do. You should come clean to your mom, say you're not going to do it again, and then start fucking the rivals. Isn't that like a thing? There's like rivalries within the real estate industry, and you said you can't go work with them. So why don't you go work out your frustration with them?
Oh, also, are you friends with people who work at other real estate agencies? Because I'm going to tell you right now, I actually don't. I know for a fact, a couple people I know, like they did hook up with other agents that they would work with. Like it was a little bit kind of like a restaurant scene. Like it is a little incestuous. Like there was a lot of hooking up amongst agents around the same age and that stuff. So I do
like that they clarify the ones that are my age.
Yeah, they're kind of fucking the one who's got those bench ads who's like at this for 45 years. So many happy, successful families.
But they might be fucking like what's that hot Asian lady that's on the ones around here?
Oh my God. Oh, no, Mott's will kill me. We talk about her every day. Tracy O?
Yeah. Yep.
The way that we used to walk into open houses and go, Tracy! And we had our assistants, because this is when Mott broke his hand too, was part of the process. They knew when he got the cast on, they were like, what happened? Tracy Doe. That's what happened. And he was like telling it when he got the cast off, they're like, my man finally got your cast off. So happy for you. Like we knew them all. And anytime we see like a real estate sign that's not for her, I'm like, Tracy's got competition. Addicted to that woman. But by the way, the person I'm thinking of who, the person I know who was hooking up in the real estate world with the coworkers, I realize now that the person she was hooking up with was also a real estate Nepo baby. And this was his game. He did this with a lot of people. So I actually think that this might be kind of a part of being a real estate Nepo baby.
Mm. Do you know any of the other Nepo babies in the area?
That's what I'm saying. Start a support group and be like, who's good at it?
Or maybe y'all just start fucking each other and then think of, ooh, that's actually a good storyline. I could see that happening in a soap opera.
Here's the issue right now, though, is every time I'm filtering this through and I'm picturing it, Tracy Doe is there and so is Phil Dunphy. And that to me
Phil's in my head too.
I need to stop.
Yeah. But Phil isn't a Nepo baby. We gotta read.
He's the one who's 40 years in the business.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my bus stop ad. Yeah, I think that I think your mom will be ashamed of you if you pretend you're ashamed, if you say that you're ashamed of this or whatever. I think taking this as here's the thing. Real estate is a self-starting career. You have to take a lot of initiative. This shows initiative, and then saying, I don't want to do this anymore also shows initiative.
Yeah.
Treat this like a job interview. How would you spin this to be my worst quality? I care too much. I'm too good at networking.
But networking within your own company.
I'm too good at team
building. Team building, team bonding, yeah. And team boning. I want you to focus your escapades with men and women outside the office.
Yes.
I think that you use your prowess to take over the other territories from other real estate agents.
Get enemy intel.
Mm-hmm. That pillow talk turns into you knowing that this house is about to come up.
Yeah, off-market listings.
Mm-hmm.
Also, what about conferences? What if you say,
oh, yeah,
Mother Dearest, I'm very interested in some of these. I'm really interested in these real estate conferences. I would like to go to Poughkeepsie. Could you send me there? And we get those dating apps on your phone.
Yeah.
That, by the way, conferences, people love fucking at a conference.
They do.
I say that as someone who's been to, by the way, people might not understand this. Both VidCon, Playlist Live, considered conferences. And those teenagers are fucking.
I mean, what? No, I guess the con stands for convention, but yeah.
But it's a conference for the business side too.
Yeah. Trust me, I know.
Oh, trust me, I know. I've been. I've seen some shit.
I have too. I've seen it from the business side. You've seen it from the creator side.
That's it. Mott saw it from the business side, and I would hear about it from the creator side. So here's the thing. I think you can keep your job, and most importantly, you can keep those sweet digs. Don't give up on your living situation this easy.
That sounds like an amazing setup.
You sound like this girl that I went to high school with, and she literally had a wing of the home, and when they moved, it was obviously still nice, but I was like, damn, I miss that wing.
Yeah, I had, when I was growing up, I had a kitchen and I wasn't technically allowed to use the separate entrance, but there were times where we would sneak out. I wouldn't, I would use it not during the daytime, I'm going to come home and go through the door, but I was definitely sneaking out at night.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think that you have too good of a thing going on. And as a Nepo baby, sleeping, first of all, everyone has the right to sleep around. As a Nepo baby, the world might not be your playground, but this real estate company is your playground. And I don't think she would have expected anything less.
And once you take over the empire, you got to stop this. You can't sleep with people that are beneath you, so to say.
No, you can sleep with people parallel to you.
Yeah.
Again, your enemies.
Mm-hmm. So go after the enemies.
Stop that pussy for good.
Yeah. You might have, I know, a lot of times with if it's a huge real estate, because some real estate companies, there's hundreds of people.
Yep.
I don't know how big the company is and how many people you've gotten through, but go to a different company.
And have sex with them. Don't quit your job.
And maybe when you start plowing your way through the other company, then word will get around that you've hooked up with a few of them, and then it'll start internal fighting. And that sounds like a great thing. You steal information and you create tension within the company.
Yeah. think of yourself as your own story producer for a reality show.
Yeah.
That you happen to star in. That is also your life. But just remember, I think your mom would be more upset if you left and worked for an enemy than if you had been fraternizing with your own team.
Yeah. So get ahead of it. You stop that snowball.
Mm-hmm. And apologize to the people. Like, take initiative in the sense of like, again, a good real estate agent would.
Or don't actually apologize and just say, we weren't exclusive.
Yeah. Like, I'm so sorry that you felt, no, that's so, I can't say, even in this instance, I won't let you do that.
I'm so sorry that you felt betrayed.
No, I'm so sorry that you were misled. That was not my intention. And knowing that, I will make sure in the future that I will not make that mistake again. And thank you for sharing that with me.
Yeah.
So I can be better.
You're a marketer. That is your job, is to market. You need to market yourself.
And you're good at marketing yourself, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
So don't sell yourself short and think that now you have to like run away. No, these decisions, stand by the decisions you made. And then if you don't want to make them again, you don't have to make them again. But like if you run like tail between your legs and all of that stuff, I think mommy would be like, that's not a Tracy Doe in the making.
Yep.
Gotta look her up. How's she doing? I would like you to join the Patreon. I do think it is your civic duty as an Nepo baby.
Yeah.
And we'll accept you.
You have money, like you have money to spare. So
yeah, you seem to be riddled with a wee bit of guilt. So I will say, I think, repenting for that feeling of shame, giving back to the community. And by community, I mean our community. We will welcome with open arms. And I'm going to tell you right now, everyone on our Patreon, you don't have to ever reveal yourself for who you are. You don't ever have to. If you want to, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to meet a group of people who are going to welcome you with open arms and probably ask for tips.
Yep.
They'll love you for this, not in spite.
All right, we're going to take a break.
From the podcast that brought you to each of the last lesbian bars in the country and back in time through the sapphic history that shaped them comes a brand new season of cruising beyond the bars. This is your host, Sarah Gabrielli, and I've spent the past year interviewing history-making lesbians and queer folks about all kinds of queer spaces, from bookstores to farms to line dancing and much more. You can listen to Cruising on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes air every other Tuesday starting February 4th.
With something like 5 million podcasts, finding a really good one can take a ton of time. So let me recommend one. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in each episode, we discuss topics that can be really helpful, like how to read people better, the psychology of crowds, or fun things like the story of Legos, or why you probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for horses. Something You Should Know is the name of it, wherever you get your podcasts.
Ladies and gentlemen.
What are you doing?
What do you mean?
Just keep it simple.
I'm making the promo.
Just keep it simple. Just say, hey, we're the Brav Bros. Two guys that talk about Bravo.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're the Brav Bros.
No.
Oh.
Dude, stop with the voice. Just keep it simple.
I've seen promos on TV, dude. This is how you get the fans engaged. This is how you get listeners. We're trying to get listeners here. If we just say, oh, we're two dudes that talk about Bravo, people are going to get tired of it already. We need some oomph.
All right, then fine. Let's try to do it with your voice.
Brav Bros.
Good job.
And we're back. Okay, so my friend, let's call her A, had a bit of a dramatic Friday night. Me and my friend are 23-year-old grad students that went out and partied a little too hard. We ran into some of my old friends from undergrad and things got weird. A was talking to one guy, B. They ended up hooking up, but he was a bad eater, if you know what I mean.
I do.
Then she rallied.
Oh, what a fucking champion.
And started hitting it off with another guy, C, in the group. They talked all night, held hands, and groped each other. She fell hard and got his number. Now she's completely obsessed with C, and C was into her too, but then found out that she hooked up with A moments before And now he wants nothing to do with her, even though he still really likes her. I'm caught in the middle because she's yapping my ear off about him, and he's torn with respecting his guy friend's feelings, but also liking her. What advice would you give both of them? Because neither of them truly knows what the other is feeling, and they're both telling me.
I need to know the timeline, and mostly I need to know the location. Where did they separate from
before?
No, that's what I'm saying. As soon as they said that, I said, I'm so sorry. Where did they go for him to eat her out poorly?
This is what I'm thinking.
And then they come back and she goes, not so good. And then she grabs C and says, let's try this again.
I think they were this is what I'm imagining. They're in grad school. It was probably a house party. A and B disappeared into a room. It went down poorly. He's in the bathroom washing out his mouth. She's walking out, bumps into C. And then they strike up a conversation. That's what I would think happened.
And did you write this the day that this happened? Like, are these men still mad? Do you know what I mean?
I don't know.
Because this is my thing, is that like, especially this age and like friend groups, when you have friend groups of people are regularly hooking up, new people are coming in, people are hooking up, whatever that is, like, if you don't clearly establish that, like, we don't do that, we don't hook up with each other, and or we only hook up with each other, we don't invite new people who come in and hook up or whatever. This, I would be shocked if this hasn't happened before. This is maybe just the time they've only ever had like confirmation that this person like hooked up with someone and then someone else. But like, I don't think that, like, we ran some old friends. A was talking to one guy. Did she know him before? Because for him to be like in his feelings and upset and being like, I don't want to betray my friend. Did you both meet her that night? Because that's fucking crazy.
That's what it read to me.
If this
is started it with, we had a dramatic Friday night.
If these men are both still like, that would really hurt me if he did that, or he's like, I don't know if I could hurt him like that. I think these men might want to touch their penises together. Like, I don't like that to me is like a level of like, you quite literally don't know this girl. If you feel this immense betrayal, I don't think it's about the girl. I think it's about him.
I think it might be the timing.
But oh my God, if you're going to eat someone out the first night you meet her and you're going to be like, I can't believe she would do that again. Like,
I think it's that both guys are into her.
They just met her.
Obviously, she has a magical vagina.
Which one of these guys is hotter?
One of them can't eat
If they're both ugly, this actually checks out a lot. Because she's like, she might be like, this is the most attractive girl I've ever talked to. She's so charismatic. Like, if your friend is leagues and above, like, no offense to these guys, but like, your friend is awesome, like leagues and above these guys. Yeah, that actually makes a little more sense that like they're crashing out over a one time. I thought I was eating her out on the first day for the rest of our lives.
If you are ugly and can't eat cat,
no, that
is detrimental to both you and those around you. You need to be the best
expeditiously
eater.
needs to be solved.
I need you to be the LeBron James of eating.
I don't need you to go to the gym. I need you to pick up some books. I need you to study. I need you to buy some stone fruit. And I need you to get to work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think this is a wonderful problem for your friend A to have. But like, I will be so real with you. You have 72 hours before I'm like, okay, I don't want either of you now. Like, you guys are fucking weird. Like, this is just like, you cannot eat someone out the first time you meet them, like 20 minutes in, if you're going to get upset and like feelings over like, oh my God, they don't want to do that for the rest of our life. So she was talking to somebody like, that's objectively crazy, and your friend group needs to stop hooking up with people.
Imagine he just went to the bathroom and thought he was coming back, pun intended, and she's just gone. And then he walks out and sees her chatting it up with his best friend.
Is this the first time some guys are not comfortable. They've never experienced getting with a baddie. Like, if a girl, like, if she's so hot and you can't hang, yeah, she's not going to be like, well, I'm going to be respectful of this man. What's his name again? Who I met 20 minutes ago, who I don't know at all. I should be considered. What? She also doesn't know that you didn't eat someone else out 25 minutes before she got there. Like, you can't carry yourself through life.
But I didn't eat anybody else out. I saw her and I was like, that's a girl I want to be with.
This is why I can't stand posers.
And then I found out that my best friend had his
grabbed her
tongue,
titties.
had his tongue all the way inside her vagina. He doesn't even know what a clit is. Like, I've tried to explain to him, and like, he's terrible, but I just can't, I can't move forward knowing that he knows exactly what her pussy tastes like.
No, man. No. That's messed up, dude. That's hella messed up.
Women try to act like these females, they just don't respect us. They don't respect us. Like, I was having a good time with her, but bro, she broke my heart.
This is, I think, actually what you need to do explicitly, because you said at the end, what advice do you give both them? Because neither of them truly knows the other is feeling and what they're telling me. You need to be a girl's girl, and you need to tell A what these fucking weirdo boys are saying, so she can go, thank you so much for letting me know. I will never be seeing them again, these fucking losers. That's what you need to do for her. And then you need to tell him, you're really fucking weird. You guys are being really fucking weird.
Should I put you two in a room together?
Yes. Like, and him saying, like, being like, oh my God, she just hooked up with him. I have nothing to do with her. And all that is, to me, is a guy who has never had the opportunity to hook up with two girls in one night. And like, maybe I'm a whore, but I'm like, the only time I ever like, and I didn't even feel bad, but the only time I was like, oh, okay, sorry, there was a miscommunication, was I was like making out with this, well, okay, we were doing more than making out. He was like, fingering me. We're like hooking up, but we're not having sex, whatever. And then this other guy that I had been hooking up with, he like shows up and he like was like, what the hell's going on? And I was like, what? And he was like, you can't. And he's like getting mad at the guy and being like, we're together, like to me. And I was like, I actually think this is on me, because I didn't know that, by the way.
It was weak.
And I said, oh, so I'm not opposed to that, but we have never, I'm so sorry. I might have missed that conversation. We can reevaluate that, but like, this is all on him. Like, I didn't know that. And like, I wasn't like feeling bad or being like, oh my God, I cheated. I was like, we truly never had that conversation. That was never even implied, whatever. And it was like, afterwards, I was like, oh, okay. And then I was like, we still never had the conversation. So by the way, never works with him in that instance. But like, I think like this being viewed as the ultimate sign of betrayal, to me, I'm like, oh, we actually have lived very different lives, and like, you cannot keep up. Like, this is so cringy to me and so fucking weird. First of all, you can't even eat pussy. You're bad eating pussy, and then like, you're sad about it, like afterwards. Like,
I mean, if I was this girl, I'd be like, now I need C to eat me out to even see if he's good at it.
I wouldn't even watch at this point, because I'm like, he's picturing his friend being like, oh my God, but how are we gonna play Call of Duty now? Like, damn. I'd be like, I'm out.
But if your friend is bad at eating pussy, then like, I feel like that's something that you're both bad at.
Yeah, because you spend all your time together.
She got so wrapped up in his personality, which it might work in his benefit. Maybe he's such a great conversationalist that she's like, okay, even if he's bad the first time, I'll talk him through the second time. But like, this is just a funny situation to me.
It's so funny how like, these are like, I thought I was the chosen one. Like, being so offended. Like, you think that you were picked because this girl was like interested in you, and then was like, yeah, actually not so much. It's like, no, but it was about me. I was special. She can't do it to other people. Like, this is telling me is that you have never had the opportunity to do this, and you won't have the opportunity to do this, and now you are sad. And that's okay. You can be sad, but either one of you is bad at eating pussy and is sad, which we already know, and the other one, are you going to join? Are you going to be bad at pussy by omission
or association
and then be sad? Or are you going to put your mouth,
your best tongue forward, and get to work,
wipe those tears,
right, with her thighs,
snack it up,
right? Like,
this is when a boy becomes a man. Like, what's your choice?
This much, get down and eat out, and prove to her that you're the man that she thinks you are, and tell your friend, I'm so sorry, but like, I've been chatting her up already, and sorry, your Riz isn't working the way mine.
I feel like this is like Mark Zuckerberg's origin story.
He didn't get that far.
No. But I'm also shocked because this also might just be like telling of me and like my friends. I cannot think of a guy that I know to this day, like went to college with, went to high school with, or whatever. Like, I can think of one friend maybe where we have zero crossover with guys we've hooked up with from like that, from like high school to college era.
In college,
but like I had so much fucking and like even if it wasn't like me, it's like, oh yeah, I like this friend hooked up with so and so or whatever, and even like best guy friends. How do you think a lot of guys in college had their first threesome?
A lot of like, even in my friend, a handful of them are gay now, but in college, which this might be actually.
I'm just saying.
Actually, you might.
I'm
be
just
something
saying.
But I was gonna say a lot of us within the actual group were not hooking up, but it would be like our friends on the perimeter that we were hooking up with. It wasn't within the core group. But my thing here is that they didn't know about the other until it already went down.
No, but you actually cannot like this person enough to be upset by this while you are sober 72 hours later. That is flat out unacceptable to me. Like that, I think that's why your friend needs to be the first call. Because if this was me as a fellow bad bitch, I would go, thank you so much for letting me know. I actually don't know who these men are anymore. This actually never happened.
I was drunk. It was a wild Friday night. I was drunk.
No one ever cares and no one ever talks about one of the real issues in the world, which is hot girls infiltrating broader friend circles, fucking hooking up with some of those guys and leaving a trail of sobbing men in the distance and going, nobody warned me that I was walking up to a group of losers. You have to tell me if these men cannot handle this, because I'm not trying to make your friendship and life circle harder. I did assume the man that ate me out 20 minutes after meeting me could hang, but now he's crying in the corner. Why did that happen? Why did that fucking happen? At 23, this is even especially fucking crazy to me at 23. Because I know this person's become an insufferable 28-year-old who talks to someone in the club, and then it was like, why is she dancing with somebody else? I'm like, you don't know her. She couldn't even hear you over the music. I wanted to buy her a drink. You didn't even buy her a drink. You just thought about buying her a drink. This is crazy. I'm like, and I know these men are not hot enough for this at all.
What if they're so hot?
Then they go to Harvard and they're socially inept. And I mean that in a derogatory way.
Very hot men do not act like this.
No. And I mean hot in the sense of like looks, but also like
personality,
charisma. Like you
have to have that type of charm to really be able to pull this off.
Well, and to take someone attractive from being someone you see in like a magazine spread or on a billboard to like someone who you're like, I want to have sex with you. Like I'm attracted to you right now. This is you're building this for me.
So you, caller, writer, next time you go out with your friend, bring your best eaters forward.
And if you don't know who they are,
you should have warned her before.
Wait, also, it's seemingly you haven't hooked up with either of these guys.
No.
And there's a reason why. Why'd you let her hook up with them?
Yeah.
If I have a friend and they're like, you should hook up with this guy. And I'm like, oh, who's hooked up with him? They're like, nobody. And I go, so no, what the fuck is wrong with him? Like, why would you send me out to uncharted territory twice? Now they're crying. This is why we don't go into uncharted territory.
Or were you off doing your own thing?
Oh, you were keeping the good eaters for yourself. And also, by the way, you can't choose to be the friend group who fucks at 23 years old. I'm so sorry. You've missed it. You have to do it in high school. You have to do it before your brains are even close to being fully developed. You have to do it in a way where you are forced to see each other in school the next day. Like there's circumstances there. It has to be when things are hot and cold and they're breaking and doing all of that. It has to be like that. And then, by the way, that group does not stay that way forever. You grow out of it.
But maybe the writer they're not like in her, since she ran into some old friends, they're not actually in her friend group.
And they're trying to pretend that they are friends who fuck, and they are not friends who fuck.
Yes.
And they found out. And you know what? Maybe they're friends who should fuck
each other.
This is fucking hilarious to me. By the way, shout out to you. I loved this one. Thank you. This was a roller coaster. It's also getting my creative juices flowing.
I'm like A.
No. Draw, baby.
All right, we're going to take a break.
Do you love Disney? Then you are going to love our hit podcast, Disney Countdown. I'm Megan, the Magical Millennial.
And I'm the Dapper Danielle.
On every episode of our fun and family-friendly show, we count down our top 10 lists of all things Disney. There is nothing we don't cover.
We are famous for rabbit holes, Disney-themed games, and fun facts you didn't know you needed, but you definitely need in your life. So if you're looking for a healthy dose of Disney magic, check out Disney Countdown wherever you get your podcasts.
Bitches on Comics is a bi-monthly interview podcast where we talk to the coolest LGBTQ plus folks and women in comics and pop culture.
Our unique perspectives and welcoming nature have earned us the honor of being named a best comic book podcast by Book Riot, Screen Rant, The Mary Sue, Comic Book Herald, and Comic Book Couples Counseling.
Bitches on Comics is hosted by moi, Monica Estrella Negra, filmmaker, writer, and co-founder of Audrey's Revenge Film.
And me, Essie Fleenor, comic and pop culture nerd and culture critic with writing in The Independent, Vice, Electric Literature, Star Trek, and so much more.
We're also both voting members of Gallica, the Society of LGBTQ plus entertainment critics.
Join Bitches on Comics for in-depth, hilarious, and heartfelt conversations with the likes of Stephanie Williams, Leah Anderson, and the late, great Rachel Pollack.
Listen to Bitches on Comics on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Or tune in at bitchesoncomics.com. New episodes every other Wednesday.
Hey, do you like true crime? Me too. And I know what you're thinking. There's so many true crime pods out there, you've already heard all the stories. Well, what if I were to tell you you're wrong? I'm Leroy Luna, the host of Excuse Me, That's Illegal, the podcast that takes a hardcore look at softcore crime. I've got a back catalog of hundreds of bizarre and hilarious stories just waiting to be heard by you. So come join me. Excuse Me, That's Illegal is available anywhere you get your favorite podcasts, with new episodes dropping on the 10th, 20th, and 30th every month, baby!
All right, we're back. Let's get into an update.
This is the caller who called in. There have been a couple updates of this, but initially they had called in as like they were hooking up with this guy. I think they literally said friends with benefits. And then they were like saying, like, basically starting to say, like, I love you, but it's like, but we're not together. We were like, man, that's your man. Like, that is your boy. You don't have to have he thinks that you are his girlfriend wholeheartedly. This is not you're not on the same page. He's just waiting for you to get your head out of the clouds. Like, he knows, like, that is your man. So we had a mini update
where she was calling in talking about being the third in a
being
relationship.
the third. And, you know, I might have likened her to a certain zodiac sign's absolute dream of being the object of everybody's affection. I think I feel vindicated with what the update is.
So here we go.
Hi, Meghan and Melisa. Y'all asked for some more excitement for my dump from them. Blame them on November 14th, 2024, titled My Cousin is Dating My Ex. Not a great storyteller, but I'll give it a go. So essentially, yes, he was my man all along. I see it looking back, like when I told him I wanted a day trip and he surprised me with a hotel a month in. He paid for everything, was taking me out all the time, nice dinners, bottles of wine at dinner, concert tickets. Like 5 months in before I Love You, he got us ice level tickets at a good hockey team's game, et cetera, et cetera. So 6 months we said I love you. Then once I finished college, I went on a study abroad, and then I stayed in the country for another 2 weeks. I was literally on the other side of the world for a month and a half, and this was right before we hit a year. The communication over that time was great. We didn't fight. I lived my best life, like travel-wise, not hooking up. And I realized that I wanted him to be my official boyfriend. So I come back, and I'm like, it's time. You got to ask me to be your girlfriend. We go to a nice dinner. He doesn't ask me. And I'm like, that was the perfect opportunity. So then he asked me the next morning in bed. Not super romantic, but I said yes. He essentially was like, sure, I'll ask, but I've been calling you my girlfriend for months. All my friends call you my girlfriend. Like, I thought we were already there. And in my opinion, you have to ask. And also, he hadn't been calling me his girlfriend to my face. So then we hit a year and a half, and we're still long distance, like 2 hours. But then I'm like falling in love with the city he's in, and I knew I wanted to move out of my hometown, and I have my own friends in his city. So I brought it up after a month of thinking about it, and I'm like, I want to move here. I know the smart option would be to live separate in the same city for a while, but I want to move in with you. And he was like, okay, great. I wanted you to come move in with me, but I wasn't going to ask, wanted it to be your decision. So then he has to meet my dad before we move in. We just get dinner and it goes well. They're getting along. They meet a few other times, and my dad was like, yeah, I think he's great. He didn't like my ex, and neither did my friends, so all of them giving me the green light was very validating. I then meet his family, who are a plane right away. Me and him both have moms with mental illnesses, so he kind of was nervous about how his mom would be. She really liked me, and the rest of the family was super nice. We move in, no issues. I really like coming home to him. We have a new place. And then we had a natural disaster in the area, and we had to evacuate. So we went to my parents for a week, which was his first time meeting my mom. And he was super great, very sweet. She immediately was like, oh, he's handsome. He also met my best friend's family, who were more excited to meet him than my own. They loved him too. I'm going to his family's for Christmas and meeting his nephews, which is very exciting. I'm not great with kids, so it'll be interesting. Also, I love that y'all said, what a Libra wishes they were. I am a Libra. Thanks.
Wow. I would also love to hear how Christmas went. Like, this is kind of like a really fun, sweet, just like little update to continue on with. Like, he sounds great. Like, he sounds like very lovely and meeting you where you're at. And I will say, as someone who the first time I heard Mats before we were engaged through the wall when he was working from home, refer to me as his wife on a work meeting. And I was like in the other room and I went, whose wife? And I literally walked up to the door, put my ear on the door, and I hear him talking about me and I go, me wife? And he came out and I said, why'd you call me your wife? And he goes, oh, I do that all the time. Everyone thinks we're married. And I was like, we're not engaged, sir. And he goes, sounds like, yeah, he says, yeah, he's such a fucking Capricorn. He goes, potato, like what? Same thing. And I'm like, quite literally, no, we're not even engaged yet. He goes, if we're basically engaged, you just won't let me tell you what day I'm going to do it. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And he's like, no, it's just kind of illusory to like, yeah, we've been together for this many. No, you're my wife. And he, to this day, now he wears a ring, which I love. That's great. He wanted to start his new job. He goes, I'm wearing the fucking ring. I'm doing that.
I said he's got an engagement ring.
I said, make sure you tell people it's an engagement ring and that we're not married, because you can't spring this on your fucking boss and your coworkers being like, when we do, hey, taking the honeymoon or getting married. And they're like, I thought you already were married. I overheard him the other day. I go, you're going to have to explain to these people that you lied about being married. And he's like, we'll figure it out. And I think he's literally going to tell them, we're renewing our vows. I'm like,
or just like y'all are,
we're having
a post moon.
Mm-hmm. We're just having like whatever. And I'm like, oh my God, you're so like just so pragmatic. I love that for men though. That like makes them look better, like more professional. And for women, it's like, no,
right.
Be single.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be tied down. I remember anytime when I was single, in like every meeting with like whether it's like agents, producers, cast, whatever, they're like, you're single? Oh my God, that's crazy. Like there's no way. And then when I was like, oh, like no, I'm dating. They're like, oh, but no, you don't want to date. And I'm like, so you don't want me to be single, but you also don't want me to be with someone.
I literally I was doing an internship and I had a producer tell me he was disgusting and he did sexually harass me.
Yeah.
But he told me, he was like, you always want to appear fuckable. Like never tell anybody your relationship status.
People always want to talk about like the dark side of Hollywood. It's all these like underground pedophilia rings. No, it's that. It is like, it is people in power, men and women of all ages.
He told me, he was like, some of the women are the worst. And I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Of all ages, telling you that you need to be available, not too available, sexy, alluring, but it not actually tied down by any means.
Yep.
And people say that the first time they fucking meet you.
Yep.
And men will also hug you in meetings the first time you meet, which I think is, and then say something like that, which is, what do you mean you're going to bring up if I'm asking if I'm single? Well, I see a wedding ring. You've talked about your children after I just hugged you and you squeezed my tits close to you.
Yep. I'm
like a big brother. I'm like, we just met. This is fucking weird.
All right. Thank you so much for calling, for writing in. We greatly appreciate it. You can, still participate. You're like, hey, I heard something there that really triggered something in my brain. I have some advice for this person, or I forgot I did that when I was 20. Yeah, you can write in and give your own advice in our segment called Don't Blame Them. We had someone give us paragraphs of advice. We'll read it next episode.
Mm-hmm.
So you can write in. You have your own predicaments. Call us, write us, page us. Maybe there's a form out by now. Do that.
Call us, beep us if you want to reach us. If you want to page us.
That's what
we
I was
don't
going for.
Have a pager. I'm also not that familiar with what a pager is.
A pager was a device where you could...
It's like just notifications.
It was like, bzz, this person called you. So it would just show up as the person's phone number. And then you would go call them back.
Can you leave a voicemail?
No, because it's not anything to listen into. It was just a little device.
So would it say so-and-so left a voicemail? Like you could then go and say...
No, they literally it would just show up as their number and then you would go call them back.
Only a missed call. What if they were actively calling?
You can't think of it as a way of a phone.
Oh, you call a pager. You don't call the phone and it notifies your pager.
Yes.
Here I am. I'm in the world of Bluetooth. I'm assuming it's connected.
No.
Okay. Well, my new deep dive I'm going to do while you take your workout is who invented pagers and where are they now? Or their legacies.
Some hospitals are still using a version of them. Doctors were the biggest people that were carrying around pagers and drug dealers.
Gross.
Doctors and drug dealers.
Oh my God. Al Gross, I'm so sorry I slandered the pager because you made one of my favorite inventions, the walkie-talkie. Now, for most people, it will be the cordless phone. But you are an inventor. I love that.
Al Gross invented the cordless phone as well?
It says he was a pioneer in mobile wireless communication. He created and patented many communications devices, specifically in relation to early versions of the walkie-talkie, citizen band radio, the telephone pager, and the cordless telephone.
Whoa, he's
an engineer from Toronto.
What an innovator.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm addicted to this man's story. So he is born in Toronto in 1918, son of Romanian Jewish immigrants. He grew up and then they moved to Cleveland, Ohio, and his lifelong enthusiasm for radio was sparked at age 9 when traveling on Lake Erie by a steamboat.
Cute.
While sneaking around the boat, he ended up in the radio transmissions room. The ship operator let him listen in on transmissions. Later, Gross turned the basement of his house into a radio station built from scavenged junkyard parts. He earned his amateur radio license and he used call sign W8 PAL his whole life. I don't know, but I fucking love walkie-talkies. Oh my God. And he also built things for the CIA during World War II.
Where's this man's
Oscar
this movie? This is Oscar bait if I've ever heard
Book
it.
Instead.
Jesus Christ. But back in the 90s, Mountain Dew had a thing where you could save up the box tops of like Mountain Dew or even the caps of Mountain Dews and send them in and then get a pager. And I did that.
What do you use for your like who'd you like friends or is it how old were you?
8.
So before you had a phone?
Yes.
So you would do it to like call my home phone.
Yeah, but like who would be using it? That's the thing. He's like, if I'm at home, you're going to call me because I'm at school. So then I can't call back.
So did you use the pager?
No, I didn't use it. It was more the fact that I achieved a goal.
No, I didn't even know. I thought those things were like not real when I heard about like you can mail things in and get this thing in return. I'm like, unless it's the toy in the Cracker Jack box, I don't believe that that's actually going to happen.
Yeah, it happened.
Wow. It's like it's that version of winning the Danimals giveaway. Damn. That's impressive. I want it. Maybe I'll see if any of those are still available. I'll buy myself some boxes of tricks or whatever, see if I can feel something again by collecting those things to complete. Wow.
All right. Well, we will see you tomorrow for Fisting Friday, Monday for But Am I Wrong, Tuesday for See You Next Tuesday, Wednesday catch up and on old episodes or re-listen to something. And then we'll be back here on Thursday for Don't Blame Me.
And also, last thing, Al Gross is just laughing in his gravestone because in the 1950s, he tried to get people interested in cell phones, mobile devices. They weren't interested. What an innovator. Invent something today, even if it's just a backstory of your own life.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye. This is a Sister Sign production hosted by me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melissa D. Montz, plus Diamond Imprint Productions.
Post-production by Coco Lorenz.
Production assistance by Melanie D. Watson.
And music by Ryan Hunter and Giacomo Picasso.
Welcome to the small town of Chinook. where faith runs deep and secrets run deeper. In this new thriller, religion and crime collide when a gruesome murder rocks the isolated Montana community. Everyone is quick to point their fingers at a drug-addicted teenager, but local deputy Ruth Vogel isn't convinced. She suspects connections to a powerful religious group. Enter federal agent V.B. Laureau, who has been investigating a local church for possible criminal activity. The pair form an unlikely partnership to catch the killer, unearthing secrets that leave Ruth torn between her duty to the law, her religious convictions, and her very own family. But something more sinister than murder is afoot, and someone is watching Ruth. Chinook, starring Kelly Marie Tran and Sanaa Lathan. Listen to Chinook wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, this is Rob Benedict.
And I am Richard Spate. We were both on a little show you might know called Supernatural.
It had a pretty good run, 15 seasons, 327 episodes.
And though we have seen, of course, every episode many times, we figured, hey, now that we're wrapped, let's watch it all again.
And we can't do that alone, so we're inviting the cast and crew that made the show along for the ride. We've got writers, producers, composers, directors, and we'll of course have some actors on as well, including some certain guys that played some certain pretty iconic brothers.
It was kind of a little bit of a left field choice in the best way possible.
The note from Kripke was, he's great, we love him, but we're looking for like a really intelligent Duchovny type.
With 15 seasons to explore, it's going to be the road trip of several lifetimes. So please join us and subscribe to Supernatural Then and Now.
I'm Brennan Storr.
I'm Paul Bestall.
We're the Ghost Story Guys.
And every 2 weeks, we explore first-person stories of encounters with the paranormal from all around the world.
Then we have some fun reacting to those stories. We like to say our goal is to scare the hell out of you, then make you laugh.
Belief in the paranormal is not required. All you need is a love of great storytelling and curiosity about the world around you.
Subscribe to the Ghost Story Guys now on your favorite podcatcher to hear episodes like High Strangeness in Chicago, The Mystery of Missing Time, and The Haunting of Vietnam, along with dozens of others.
We've talked about mythical bridges, doppelgangers, haunted seaside towns, and so much more.
Remember that story about the guy who was trapped inside a dream and something was hunting him? That was upsetting.
Yes it was.
Want us to help ruin your sleep? Come find the Ghost Story Guys on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere else fine podcasts live, or at ghoststoryguys.com.